Hi everyone, welcome to Trail Talk Live on a Friday. I am Aaron Shimmons. Here we go. We got a lot to talk about tonight, from Golden Trail and all of this type of stuff. Here's Ricky. Ricky, how's it going?
Good, how's it going, mate?
Yeah, all good, all good. Uh, Coming to you for the second time on Trail Talk from a remote location. This time I'm in the Mourne Mountains. We're in the same country, and I'm going to see you tomorrow night. And then Sunday, we've got the Trail Talk group run, which should be great fun. Group run, and then coffees or beers and some food and some crack. And there's so far there's a great turnout. I don't know if you've looked in the group lately, but I think we're up to about 12 people that are going to be coming on Sunday, so that's good. How's things going with you?
Yeah, good, man, good. I'm excited this weekend because I'm heading back up to the Mourne Mountains, and I love the Mourne Mountains. You're from the Mourne, so you know all about them. I saw you had something up earlier on where you pretty much mapped out the entire Mournes. I think it's pretty impressive. So I'm looking forward to getting back up there. I'm going to get up there early tomorrow, go for a run myself, and then meet up with you guys and all the Trail Talk members on Sunday.
Yeah. So, to the audience, thanks for joining. I'm Aaron. This is Ricky. This is Trail Talk Live every Friday. You can catch up on Instagram as well. It'll be posted straight after the show. You can also subscribe on YouTube. Search Trail Talk, search our name, whatever. You always find it. You don't need to know the URLs. Just search the name, search the show, you'll get it. It's also up on Spotify and Apple, and you can catch it there from tomorrow. So you can do that as well if you want to catch up when you're running. Next week, we're taking Friday off. Ricky, I haven't told you this, but yeah, we're not going to do it next Friday because I'm traveling back to London. So we're going to take a break next week, but we will next Friday have the closing of the Trail Talk prize giveaway, the Christmas giveaway. We've got great prizes from Hoka, Nightcore, Compressed Sport. Who am I missing? Like Chorus,
Coral, Steel Skins, Vaga. Yeah, some great prizes, man.
loads of stuff. There's loads of people entered in it. We've still got time. Go to the post on my page or Ricky's page. Do all the stuff. Tag some mates, share it, do all that good stuff. Get yourself in with a shout of getting these prizes. But look, we're a few minutes into the show. Let's crack on with the agenda because it's pretty stacked. I want to start off with this one thing this week, right? Stories for 2025. There's a few things I just want to throw at you, get your take on it, and let's chew over a little bit. So, one of the people that I'm kind of excited to see next year is Joyce Njeru. She did her first trail race this year, unsponsored, and won Sierre Zinal.
Yeah,
Only a handful of minutes off a record time, but she wasn't even challenged. She wasn't pushed. She wasn't having to dig deep. It's also her first time running the race. Unbelievable. She lost 30 odd kilos after pregnancy and decided to get back into running. And then she just goes and smashes that. Like, what is her ceiling? What can she do next year tackling the Golden Trail Series with a year of experience behind her? What do you think?
yeah, and to know she was 8 minutes ahead of second place lady, like that's insane. That's an insane time. And like, she did do steeplechase and a bit of track and field, I think, a few years ago, and then she went away from it. But I mean, the ceiling, man, she'll go through the ceiling, through the roof. It's unbelievable what this woman, I think, can do. That's her first race in a seriously stacked competitive field, and she tore it apart. Like, it's so impressive. And what is I'm trying to see what else I actually found out about her. Like, she was running like 40K a day in her training just to get fit and to lose weight and get ready to race. Like some mindset, some drive, incredible, incredible.
Yeah, I want to get back into the swing of running. Haven't done it in a decade or so. I know I'll run a marathon a day. and that'll help me lose this 30 odd kilos that I need to lose. Yeah, okay, great, I'll do that. It sounds, it sounds so simple. So it proves her quality that she was able to sustain that volume.
Yeah, yeah. But but we're all like, if you're going to do one race, if you're only going to do one race, she picked the right one to do to get us all talking and to get us all hyped for 2025. Like, you know, to do what she did, unheard of, like you said, unsponsored. That's what's so cool. Like, it's so cool to see something like that. You know, we're trying to look at like who's our top five, who's our top 10, who we're going to pick, and then this girl comes along and just blows the doors off everything. We wouldn't have a clue. Nobody's seen it coming, and there you go. Now we're talking about what else she can do next year. You know, the hype is
Totally.
behind her,
Yeah, yeah,
all
yeah,
her.
yeah.
Yeah,
So then what about the other Kenyan runner, Joyce Njeru? Like, she won this year, but she won in a year that Sophia Lockley was injured and wasn't able to race or run to her potential at all. Like, it was one of those injuries that kind of almost came at her as a surprise at the start of the season. And then just couple of false starts through the year. And the year was kind of a wipeout for her. But she's straight at the schemo and
yeah,
and
yeah.
won races already this season. So, like, where do you think she's going to fit in? And then let's roll Sophia Lockley into this mix as well.
Yeah, that's true. I think, like, for her, she does so much of that. So she does the two sports. She does really well. She's like a world champ in the skimo, and then she does the trails, and she does both to a very very high intensity. But she reckons she has got the balance right. That she knows how not to get injured, because if she's running all the time, she get injured. She's got a little bit unlucky. A lot of people are saying that maybe her ship has sailed, maybe, like, do you know what I mean? Her window is closed, but I don't think so, man. I think, like, if she gets off to a good start in the schemo, she's going to get the confidence back for running on the trails. So I definitely don't think that you can be writing her off. You know, you can't be writing her off. She's still legit. She's still super strong, and she'll still do something special, I think.
Totally right. Like, especially because of the way she went out, and also the style of racing that she's doing and the short distance. It's not like it's ultra running, where if you can have a bad year, all of a sudden you feel like, or it looks like, well, we've seen this so many times. Is this person ever going to come back? And so often they don't. They've missed their opportunity to be at the top of the sport. I don't think that's going to be the case with Sophia Lockley. I think that if she can come back and get running early enough pre-season, I think she could be right back up at the front. Can she challenge the African runners is the thing.
What you say there last?
Can she challenge the African runners?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I don't know. You know, like, even like, on the women's side, on the men's side, the African runners are just doing some incredible things. And I think it was always going to be a matter of time before, they started taking charge, getting really good on the trails, getting really good on the technical down and uphills, and dominating in the sport. And I feel like it's almost their time. You know what I mean? It's those athletes. It's their time, and it's going to be very very hard for for runners like Sophia to compete against some of these Kenyan athletes, because they just have something different. They have something special, whether it's good genes, whether it's good DNA. I don't know what it is, but, like, the Kenyans know how to run fast, man.
Yeah,
It's unreal. I might move to Kenya myself.
let's go. Here's another interesting point, right? Because we see the athletes at the top, at the front of the Golden Trail Series, and if you think back, you know, half a dozen years ago, 5, 10 years ago, you were seeing athletes that were amazing downhill runners, and they really stood out. They were great climbers, they were great downhillers. I don't think until this year with Elisine that we've seen somebody that's absolutely smashing the downs and also super strong on the uphills. we've like if you look at a lot of the leading women over the past few years, and then if you think back a couple of years whenever Remy won it, Remy's never been known as a downhiller. Like yes, he might be better at downhill than some of these other athletes, but relatively speaking, like Remy on the downhills would kind of get owned if he went into skyrunning.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But
totally.
this year, Elisine smashed the ups, smashed the downs, absolutely dominated the year. So who has the potential to challenge him next year?
Yeah, like you saw it, like we saw with our own eyes, would say, in Marathon de Mont Blanc this year when Remy made the charge, and it looked like Elistine was just toying with him, and then all of a sudden he's powering up past him on the climbs, and that's kind of when I was scratching my head, going, "Holy shit, man! Like something's changing here. Something's really, really changing here." It's like this is Remy. This is what he's supposed to do, and then Elistine is hammering up the hill, taking him on the hill, dominating on the hill, and then on that descent down into Chamonix, I mean, Elistine is flying. I mean, flying. It looks like if he falls, he's going to die. Whereas in Remy is struggling just to hold on to second place at that stage because he had to push so hard on the climb. So there definitely is a move going on where they're getting really good at the downs. They're getting really good on the ups as well. And yeah, like Elliston, you know what I mean? He can do it all. He can do the if it's flat running in the middle, he'd rip that up as well. Yeah, yeah. It's going to be very hard to see anyone but the Africans up in that top three, top four spots next year. I think anyway. Yeah, it's going to be very hard even for Remy to podium next year.
Well,
The other
Elisine is the only
the other
guy who has been challenging them and sticking with them on the climbs. And then he's clearly a better downhill runner.
yeah,
So that's why he won this year because of that. He had the strength up and down. Remy doesn't have the strength down.
no,
And those Africans are so strong climbing. So it
yeah,
puts him in a very difficult position. And I don't see anyone in the current field at the near the front that has what Elisine has. It feels like he's coming into his time, and he could even go into next year and be stronger.
mm.
So
The new Killian, huh? The new Killian of the Golden
they
Trail series.
dripped out in normal as
Yeah.
well, so it seems fitting. Look, I think for the purposes of this live, let's stick on Golden Trail for a little while. Are you happy with that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think we've got to tackle something. Let me pull up a couple of notes. So I dropped a Golden Trail World Series reel a few days ago, and I mean, I feel like saying, don't shoot the messenger, guys. Do you know what I mean? Opinions are free and they're personal, and you can have whatever one you want. Just be respectful with it, and that's how I feel about making your point and having a point. Have a point and make it and be respectful about it. And my kind of take on this whole thing is that I'm up for the expansion of the Golden Trail, but they're not increasing the size of the series. They're just replacing iconic races with new races that aren't as exciting. And one of the reasons I think they're not as exciting is because, look, we saw this year athletes decided, oh, I'll go and do the Asian races, and then I'll sit out the American races. And then some athletes are going, well, I just need this many points. I'll just focus on the American races. And we saw like Remy only fluked his way into the final. He decided, I'm going to do the American races, and I basically need to go there and win.
Yeah.
But then by default, he managed to get a place in the finals anyway. So it's not like we've got this global series and everyone's racing in all the races. That's just not the case. It's Asian races catering to a certain region, and certain athletes are picking that, and then maybe other athletes are going to America because they don't want to race Joyce or Joylin or I'll go there because they're going here. So like, what do you think about the? What's your take on that reel and that theme?
Yeah, like I saw there was so many comments on that, and there was a little bit of heat on that too, whereas and people were kind of saying what's wrong with it or why you giving out about it, and like for me, it's not. I feel like I think we both think the same, that we're not giving out about the Golden Trail Series. We're not saying that it's no good or anything like that. What we're saying is, and we're definitely not saying we don't want to see races in Asia or them expanding the races, but if they're getting rid of the other races that have the prestige, you know. And I always laugh when I say prestige, right? I think it's Step Brothers. You remember Step Brothers, the film, and they talk about prestige worldwide, and that's what I always think about. It's like, why are you getting rid of these races, right? You can add these other races in Asia, but if you're losing those ones, I think you're losing a lot of what the Golden Trail Series is all about. You know, you're losing some of the historical races, the prestigious races, the races we all want to see. You know what I mean? It's as if like that'd be like if if UTMB took, you know, the Tour de Mont Blanc race, the big race out of it, and just left CCC, TDS, and OCC in it. You know, you can't take some of those big races out of it. That's the issue I have with it.
Yeah, one of the like couple of the themes of the responses was it's a very European centric viewpoint. Well, yes, of course it is because I'm European and that's where I live. Of course it's Europeans. And if you were American or you were Asian, you would have an American or an Asian viewpoint, and that's totally fucking fine as well. Like brilliant, bring it on, bring all of these opinions together and let's have it all out and try and elevate it together. And then some of the other stuff was that, oh, it's gatekeeping because you don't want the Asian races to exist. Those Asian races looked amazing, and my only kind of negative point on the Asian races this year was that not all the athletes were there, so we didn't get to see like the full field competing at those races, and that's how Joyce, sorry, got the lead in the series because she went there. She wasn't really challenged, and she came away with a points lead. So, and then if you look at America, like I think we all miss Pikes Peak not being in the series this year because that was always one to look forward to, even though the live stream was usually rubbish because of the cell service. So I think you'd probably love to see Pikes Peak in the series as well.
Yeah, definitely, definitely would have loved to see Pikes Peak. I know Mammoth came in and like they did a brilliant job on the live feed and got us all hyped with all the elbows and stuff. But again, it's another amazing race they're just taking out of it, like, you know what I mean. So we're not completely biased towards, oh, we want all the races in Europe. It's not that. We want to see the best races. We want to see the best athletes in the world at the best races. That's what we want to see. What's happening here is the athletes are getting to pick and choose. And I think, okay, maybe we go down a small bit of a rabbit hole because they're saying, oh, well, how can you expect the athletes to fly halfway across the world to do a race? But that's kind of what we want to see. We want to see that happening. We want to see them all lining up and going toe to toe against each other. Not like, oh well, he won that race, but the other guy wasn't there to challenge him, you know. And then he went on and won that other race. And you're kind of wondering. You want to see them together. You want to see them going at it. Yeah, yeah. And
I
it's a
would
tricky
actually
one.
love to, instead of having it that you only have to do a couple of races to get certain amount of points to qualify for the final, if they're going to have like this global series, Asia, Europe, America, why not have the athletes you need to compete in one race in each region? And
Yeah,
therefore, Solomon they're sending athletes to the Asian races, which are grouped together, you know, because it's in more environmentally friendly. And the same for America. We're seeing a full contingent of athletes from teams going to each region. So I think that would help the competition, make it more interesting.
yeah. That's a great idea. That's great. Let's send that email. Send that email.
I don't need to send the email. I chat to Greg on Instagram. Greg, come on, sort it out here. Like, come on, we need to see competition in all of these races. Like, if you think about how the Golden Trail series has their expansion, you know, they had the other regions from its inception, so it's not like they're doing something new. The only thing they've done is they've removed some of these races that have historical records and times. And so if somebody races Mont Blanc, you know that, oh my God, that's that's 5 minutes quicker than the record or whatever, or even on the segments, you can compare segments to classic segments that Killian has held and things like that. But look at Skyrunning. It has 100k prize purse, 20k for the winner of the series, same as winning UTMB, 20k. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's well funded, but they have expanded their series seamlessly, like with respect for the historical races. And over the past few races, they've added so many additional races. Next year, they've got new races in Japan and Asia, or in China and Japan. They've also brought in Montezubroni Sky Race, which actually I did last year. It wasn't part of the Skyrunner World Series, but it was an Italian Sky Masters Cup race. So it was like a national cup race. It was always very competitive, but it's joined Skyrunner World Series for next year. So we're not talking about how they're expanding, because they're actually growing the amount of races. So I think that's maybe a nicer way of doing it as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like I would anyway, look, people in the viewers, drop questions in the chat if you've got one. Use the little question button. Don't just put it in the comment section, because they fly by at a mile a minute and it's hard to keep up on them. But we'll come back to this topic before the show is out. Let's jump back into other things to be excited about in 2025, or other things to be curious about in 2025. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to
No,
kick it
you
off?
shoot. You shoot.
Okay. I'm curious to see how the normal Kaibox shoe performs, because with the couple of testers that I knew, they didn't like it. But now that it's made its way out into the wild, I spoke to some other people and they're loving it. But one theme that has been across the board, from the people who didn't like elements of it to the people that think this is amazing, is they only like
Yeah.
one particular insole.
Yeah.
So what's the point in having three? What's the
I
point in paying all of these extra euros or dollars to have this shoe with three insoles if you're just like, well, the bouncy one's the only one worth using, so just leave
yeah.
bouncy in.
That was always the danger with that shoe. It's the very same. Like if I buy, let's say, I buy, if I was to buy three shoes and I was to buy, the shoe for my everyday running, the shoe for my tempo running, and the shoe for my racing, right? That's fine. That's fine. But if you just have one shoe that you're told does all three, you're gonna just run in that shoe, and whichever install you are getting the most joy out of is the only one you're going to run in. And I think it's the only one you're going to race in as well. So you've wasted whatever, whatever the price of that shoe is, because of all the marketing that went behind it or is going to go behind it. Like, I'd imagine it's not going to be a very cheap shoe, but you're saying it's a 3-in-1 shoe. It's not really. It's going to end up in one shoe with two options, with three options that you probably might use once or twice, and you'd always go back to that. Well, this is my favorite one, and like you said, 100% guarantee it will be the bouncy one. It will be.
Who doesn't like a bouncy foam? Like, why would you ever go, I don't feel like a bouncy foam today? Whether it's a long run, an easy run, recovery run, whatever the hell it is, why would you go, I don't fancy bouncy today?
Yeah,
It makes no sense. Like, I like to maybe pick a light shoe for reps and repeats and things like that. But moving in, just as we segue on into other shoes, the theme of the super shoes, the non-carbon super shoes. We've got the Prodigio Pro from La Sportiva, and we've got the Norda 005, both super shoes, kind of race day shoes, special foams, dual layer foams, no carbon plate. And whenever you think about the Norda one, I've been running in a little bit of it, 3 or 4 runs. I'm thinking, why would I pick up the 001 instead of the 05? And the only reason I'm thinking is because I don't want to burn out this more expensive shoe. But if you're
yeah.
not really bothered about the money, then it doesn't. It like it's not adding up. It's like the companies have thought about a reason that makes sense, but practically it's not practical.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what do you think about
All right.
the shoe world?
Yeah.
While I check this question that's come in, go ahead. What were you saying?
Yeah, like I have that same problem. So like I have that problem with the Skyward X, which is Hoka's max cushion carbon plated shoe. And I use it for like my, let's say, my everyday running when my legs are tired, and I want to, let's say I have a session coming up, I'm using that shoe. But the problem is that shoe is so comfy and babies my legs so much, I'm constantly reaching for it. Even though I know there's a carbon plate in it and I should probably grab the Clifton 9, or I should grab the Max 6, I still go for that Skyward X because it's just that little bit nicer than the others, and I have a hard time not grabbing it. Again, I'm lucky enough to get that shoe for free, right? But if I had to, if money was no option, then I'd probably never need to buy those other two shoes. I'd always buy that shoe, like.
Yeah, yeah. Good comment there by I think it was Bebop Solo. Yeah, the Alpha Fly is such a waste of money. Basically, I know it's not for trail, but it's expensive and they fall apart. And I think that's something that's different with the trail super shoes. We're still going to see longevity in these shoes. I think maybe it also might be a Nike thing, with the Alpha Fly doesn't last that long. But Norda shoes are known to last long, and I totally expect the 005 to last as well. I'm just not sure when I'm gonna go 001 now. I'm running around in the 5 going, this thing feels great. I would love to run an ultra in this because it's so light, but it's roomy, but it's got a nice fit. So
And and
like,
and how is that magic foam that they're talking about? How is that foam on that 005?
I mean, I'll I'll let you I I'll let you experience it yourself. All I'll say is the magic feature for me is that if you think about an 001 Norda and the 005, the main takeaway when you're running it is, oh, this feels so light.
Mm,
It's almost like the 005 evolved to a more refined version and stripped away loads of weight. That's
yeah.
kind of how it feels. It doesn't feel like a totally different shoe or a different model. It just feels like that company have refined the shoe, and with the uh, technologies that are now in the shoe game, the super foams, which are super light, and their experience with the uppers and what they've done there with the Dyneema and the weave and things. They've just taken the 001 and made a better shoe, a lighter shoe, and that's kind of my early thoughts on it. But I've got a couple more months of testing, and at this stage, I'm just making notes before
Mm.
a review comes out in March. But you'll get to see it very soon. You'll get to put it in your feet very soon, Ricky. I think you're looking forward to that.
Yeah, very excited about that. Yeah, yeah.
Anything else from on your side?
Oh, but I would say like that was a good point you made about the longevity of these shoes. Like these shoes are not cheap. Like the shoes we're talking about right now, like the 005 and the let's say my kind of favorite shoe is the Tecton X3. That actually that man that made that comment, Bebop, he got a view with them last weekend with me on the trails, and he was asking a few questions about that shoe. And like that, with the road super shoes, you're not getting that durability or longevity out. You're told, oh, you can only run 250 kilometers out before it wears out, and that is true across the board in most of those road shoes. Whereas in the trail shoes, I know that I put about 700k on my first pair of Tecton X3 and ran TDS in them, and they were fine. And then I put them to sleep after that. But and I know for a fact that you'll get minimum 750, if not 1,000 kilometers out of those 005s, if you keep them clean every now and again, like.
So I don't know about clean. Nor the shoes are meant to be kept dirty, so that's how we'll keep them. But Ricky, we have hit the magic 30-minute time limit.
And
And if there's nothing else that you want to table for discussion, we're going to end this one, our last live show before Christmas. But for the viewers, you can catch up again tomorrow on Instagram. Head over to the feed. You can also catch it on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify and on YouTube. And if you haven't entered the Trail Talk Christmas giveaway, go to the profile, see the post, do the tags, do all of that stuff. That's going to get you in with a shout of winning Hoka stuff, Nightcore, Chorus, Vaga. What am I missing out? Loads of stuff. Like 3 people are getting decked out. They're going to be lit come January with a load of good stuff. So, Ricky, I will see you tomorrow for some running, and then we've got the Trail Talk group run on Sunday. So I'll see you then. And everyone all the viewers, happy Christmas, have a great holiday, and we will see you in a week or two.